Here's a question, Belinda. What's the main difference in the inability to achieve tests for adults and carers' eligibility for funded services?
Okay, so it's a question about how the eligibility criteria work differently for the adult in need and their carer, how the test differs as between service users and people who are caring but who need some support to carry on caring. So the first thing to note is that the tests are necessarily different because the domains or the outcomes of daily living that you're assessed against, they're self-evidently bound to be different tasks for people who are caring and people who are cared for. For instance, caring for someone is not ever going to stop a carer dressing themselves or going to the toilet, but it may well prevent them from having enough time to access leisure or recreation or maintain a habitable home environment or even look after somebody else. So another difference is that the carer who is applying for eligibility has to get over a special threshold of being seen to be providing necessary care in the first place, not care that is not really even needed, but which is just indulging a needy person or indulging the carer. Beyond that, though, the actual test is different in 3 specific ways. For carers, they can be eligible if they are unable to achieve any one of the domains described as relevant to them, plus having significant impact on their well-being. Whereas for service users, they have to qualify as unable to achieve over 2 or more domains. Secondly, for carers, there's a second way in, not just through inability to achieve, but by reference quite separately to something that isn't relevant to service users. And it's this: deterioration of the carer's physical or mental health plus significant impact. Now, the judge of that is the council, but it's hardly going to send a message of immense gratitude and appreciation to the carers in one's community if the council says, we don't believe you, prove it. Because carers, of course, can down tools at any time they like, and they don't need permission to do so, let alone a sick note or a reason. So councils have to be careful how stroppy they are when people say to them, caring is affecting my physical or mental health. And the third and last difference is this: whereas a cared for person can be found to be unable to achieve by virtue of taking a really long time to do something than a person without a difficulty would take, a carer is not given that way in. And if you think about it, that's a bit mean of the law. Because if a carer is having, say, disturbed nights from doing nighttime settling of their loved one, they will, of course, be much more likely to be exhausted and take longer to do whatever matters to them. But that just doesn't count. And, one can imagine why that is. The people who wrote the law probably hadn't done much of a stint at being carers. So that really, I think, is an important question for carers who want to be formally assessed. But not everybody wants to be formally assessed, and therefore eligibility doesn't matter for them. In areas where the hub services are good and carers do feel appreciated, it might suit a carer much better not to be assessed because, of course, assessment is more bureaucracy and it all takes time.
Yes, thank you, Belinda.